Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Transfer Portal YouTube channel presented by NoContextCFB. And today we have a very, very special guest, Mr. Tucker Kraft, tight end for the South Dakota State Jackrabbits. How are we doing today, Tucker?
I'm doing swell.
My name is Andrew Wilson. Joins by me is Liam Blutman. How are we doing today, Liam?
I'm doing good. Doing real good. Excited to talk to Tucker and help college football fans know it's one of the best tight ends in the game, straight up.
He is set to have a monster year this year. So let's just get straight into this interview. Tucker, one of my favorite things about, a high school recruit is when they're a two-sport athlete. And you were a basketball star in high school, averaging 14 points, 8 boards, and 2 steals. What were some of the benefits that you had by playing more than just football in high school?
I was actually listening to Bussin' with the Boys, and I heard Kittle talking about this. Was like being a two-sport athlete, like tight ends, especially a lot of tight ends. Like you'll see them make a play on the field on a Sunday, and then like ESPN will come back to that play and they'll like talk about, oh yeah, well Gronk was a two-sport athlete in high school. Here's him like around the rim and like just stuff like that. So being a two-sport athlete, you get you're not just burnt out, first of all, from playing one sport. You see too many times nowadays, especially where kids will focus or parents will focus their kids on just a single sport. And, 8 years in a single sport is it's too much. So when you're exposed to multiple sports as a child, you get a lot of different skill sets. So basketball, the change of direction, the quick burst, going towards a basket. It's really helpful. A lot of cardio in basketball. You're running up and down the floor. And a lot of times, like, you don't come out of the game. Track, just vertical line runs. That's just simple as that. I like track a lot. Favorite time of the year is track. I did like track way more than I like basketball, just because it hurt my knees a little less. But yeah, and then football, a lot of hand-eye coordination, change of direction, speed, quickness, and then football just builds toughness. You see a lot of times on videos of like the first day hitting drills, a lot of basketball players are made on this day. A lot of soccer players are made on this day. But one thing I pride myself on is toughness, physical toughness. I like to get gritty. I love the trenches. I love putting my hands on guys and just trying to tear them to the ground. So.
And I think too, just going back to this guy played Chris Hogan played lacrosse. Everyone knows. We've all heard that one like a million times. Maybe in a few years it'll be them on Sunday Night Football saying Tucker Kraft played track as well, track star, whatever though. But I'm really interested to hear who the biggest influence on your career has been and what the best piece of advice you've gotten from them is.
Oh, biggest influence is tough. Biggest influence player, say the most recent retiree from the Tampa Bay Bucks, Gronk. Ever since I was a kid, people are always, that was my comparison. They call me Baby Gronk, stuff like that. And I never took offense to it at all. Like it kind of gets old when you're like getting older and people still compare you to like you're a grown ass man. And some people still compare you to other grown men. At some point you just gotta start making your own success. And but the day he retired, like a piece of me also left the game. Like he was like someone I always looked up to. He was a very, very successful tight end. Tight ends are completely undervalued position in football. So that man right there, he was my on the field guy that I enjoyed watching. And then off the field, my dad passed away in 2012, and he was an amazing three-sport athlete in the same town that I grew up. So off the field, that's him. Like I may not have talked to him for over 9 years now, but like everything that he said to me, I try to live through. My brothers lived through him. My mom, the same words that came out of his mouth. As long as we don't stop talking about him and the things that he said, he's not really gone. So, that's my off-field inspiration. I got 2 badass brothers, wicked cool mom. So, they were my dad. those three people were. And then I got to play on a high school field named after him. So that has been my my muse, essentially. He was 3-time NAIA All-American wide receiver, but I'm just a little taller than him.
Yeah, it's great to have people talk about their fathers like that. It's just, they can be such a hero figure. I mean, one of the most memorable interviews from Super Bowls past is when Tom Brady was talking about his, and that was a great one. But I want to talk about another player that you brought up, and that's Gronk. One thing I loved about Gronk when he played, and hopefully he does play again, is his mindset and just the energy that he has on the field. Is there an artist or a genre of music you listen to a game to kind of get you into your ideal mindset and energy level before a game?
Yeah. I like 90s rock, and a lot of I dip into a lot of heavy metal, like Metallica, Five Finger Death Punch, Rage Against the Machine. And then if I want to slow it down a little bit, like Green Day, Shinedown. Geez, I listen to it a lot, but I can't just go off right now. But yeah, I listen to a lot of rock, punk rock, metal. That's kind of my go-to. I like pretty contemporary country, I guess, too. More like folk country. So like Childers, Zach Bryan, Ian Munsick. I can't think right now, but yeah, I mean, that's my genre. But anything that can get me moving around with some tenacity and exuberance, just to feel that confidence literally coursing through me. But yeah, that's about it.
So we've spoken a bit about your athletic background. We haven't talked about that in high school. You play running back, middle linebacker, some punter and quarterback as well. Was there a plan that South Dakota State had in store for you when you arrived? And when did the transformation to becoming a pure tight end really begin?
I went to all my camps to play tight end. My oldest brother, he played Division II tight end at Northern State University, which is just northwest of Brookings. So I went to all of his games, and I'm just a little bit bigger than my brother. He was about 6'3", 6'4", 245. So seeing him play tight end, my dad played that crossover H-back position. My dad's 6'4", 240. So I knew I wanted to play tight end. I wanted to wear 82, and I wanted to ball out, and I want to score touchdowns in red zone. So when I came out of high school, and I'd only played 9-man football, and I played linebacker, defensive end, and I hadn't played a single snap of tight end my entire career, maybe less than a handful. But yeah, it was primarily just running back and quarterback. So I got to SDSU, and I had all the want. I had the drive. I wanted to come in and play. I wanted to impress my coaches, but I had no idea what was going on the offensive side. There was 4 more people on the field than when I had originally played football my entire life. So that was a big change. It took me until November or December of my redshirt year to understand what was going. With confidence, I could hear the play, line up correctly, and do what I had to do. Man zone, inside zone, mid zone, pass, press, everything I could do off that. So, and then ever since, I've been really articulate in our playbook, and I really know the ins and outs. Tight ends, we got a pretty hard position. We have to know 80% of what the old line knows, and then the entire pass game. And then when you start watching the game, you look at other positions too. We kind of know what the running back does, where he's going. And then we know what reads are first from the quarterback's eyes. And, okay, well, this is only a single step drop. He's trying to get the ball gone. We got cover 4. We're going to throw it to the boundary on the hitch. you just kind of see things differently when you try to understand the entire concept of a play instead of just thinking, okay, on this play, I have a corner route.
Yeah, tight ends, you talked about it, they have to have such a high knowledge level. But going back to the whole quarterback thing, with your knowledge level as a tight end, you did play quarterback a little bit before college. Any chance we could see you throwing a touchdown on trick play this year?
It would be fun. But if I had to play quarterback like I did in high school, I wouldn't end up throwing it. I'd probably just tuck and run. So it's a lot different. And I applaud any QB who tries to QB because it's a different game.
Would love to see the Jacks get you some trick plays though, like they got for Pierre last year. I know he threw a touchdown to you, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we need Tucker to throw one to, maybe one of the Yankee twins. I want to go to your recruiting though. I know you were super low key. I can't really emphasize that enough. Like, if I'm not mistaken, 24/7 ESPN didn't even have recruiting profiles for you. What was life like as a underrated recruit, and what's some advice that you have to give to upcoming underrated high school recruits?
Yeah, so I came from a super small town, graduated 24 kids, played 9-man football, and that's the thing is, I came out of high school. I can't the summer I began my career at SDSU, I came in at 6'4", 245 pounds. So they didn't really have to do a lot with me physically. I grew up and I grew up and then I leaned out a little bit. So right now I'm sitting at, a threshold anywhere between like 253 pounds to 260 pounds. It just depends on, how hydrated I am and how big my breakfast was. That's really it. So, the biggest thing I can harp on is just resistance training in high school. It'll help you so much if you just take the time and go to the gym and you live to be an athlete, not some bodybuilding influencer that you're looking at his Instagram and picking stuff up. But you really got to ask a lot of questions when you get to a school and you have no idea what's going on. You got to ask a lot of questions, and almost to the point of annoyance. You want your coach to know that you care and you want to learn about the program. But my advice to any guy is keep your head down. Of anyone know that. I came into the program, I had no idea what was going on. But I kept my head down and I wanted to learn. You have to want it. I had my little saying when I was a freshman, and it was like, instead of best of the best, I would say beast of the best. Like, you can be the best, but you want to be so good that it gets lonely at the top. You don't want anyone else to be even around you. So I really just put my head down and I tried to be the best possible freshman recruit that there was in my entire class. Did that happen? No. A lot of people played ahead of me in different positions, but nobody did in the tight end room. That was a freshman, but yeah. And my recruitment to SDSU was really fast. I went to the prospect camp 2 days later. Coach Stig offered me so in the FCS, you can offer percentage offers. So he offered me 75% with books. And then after I committed, like a few weeks later, Craig Bull at Wyoming offered me. And I went there, went on a visit. I went on some other unofficial visits, like at Iowa State. I didn't find an atmosphere that I liked more than South Dakota State. So that's where I buried my heart. It was in Brookings, South Dakota.
South Dakota State definitely has an amazing atmosphere. Speaking of, outside of South Dakota State, in your playing career, what has been the best atmosphere you've been to? Like, you can respect, even though you're gonna beat that team, you can respect, okay, yeah, this place is pretty crazy.
Well, I respect the heck out of NDSU. I've been chatting with Noah Gindorf a little bit. We're both excited for this season. He's got a bright future to play on Sundays, just like I do. I respect those guys a ton. Their program is great. playing in the Fargo Dome is very difficult. It's loud. You got these people in the stands just trash talking you, calling you names, and it's fun atmosphere. And I had a great time when we beat them to take the marker home in the spring, and then we did it again this last fall. And we seem to be the only team that does that. But yeah, playing NDSU, that's a solid rivalry. And I'm glad I was able to be a part of it the last 2 years, and hopefully we can come away with the rock again this next year. But one place I absolutely do not respect is USD. I have yet to beat them. I didn't play in the 2019 game, and then the last 2 years they beat us. They did duck us in the spring. They forfeited. I'm going to count that as a slouchy dub. I think they were scared. But another place that is fun to play at is Colorado State. We went there and they had 32,000 fans, and they sold alcohol at their stadium, so they were even louder. And then when Pierre ran in like a 30-yard touchdown, they put me like kind of like a decoy. They motioned me out to the bottom of the numbers, and I was just man on block at the corner. Pierre ran into the end zone, and then we get in the end zone and we're celebrating, and they're throwing beer cans at us from the sideline. So that was fun. I got hit in the head with an Arnold Palmer, and never forget it.
That's crazy. And yeah, we hope you do beat NDSU again. I know you guys have won 4 of the last 6 in the regular season. It really does seem like you're the only team that could beat them. I do want to focus on a game that's coming up this year. You guys play at Iowa on September 3rd. I truly believe that you guys can win this game. I'm picking you to win this game. I'm not afraid. But for those at home that are maybe skeptical, what should we expect from South Dakota State in this game against Iowa, and why do you guys believe that you could come out with the win?
I believe that we can come out with the win solely because we start off every season hot. We come out and we're throwing fists. 2019 we played Minnesota, and had we not fumbled on our own 30 and thrown a pick 6, we would have won that game. We even had a kickoff return called back. Cade Johnson scored 6 on it, and we got it called back for holding.
I remember that.
And then we go into Colorado State, and we win the first 4 games of that season. We lose by 1 point to Southern Illinois in overtime. And then, you can't take us lightly, especially when we're all coming out after camp, and we get the whole entire fall camp to scout them and look at them. And we're running stuff for our defense that, they run, and our defense is running like their defense. They run a pretty standard, basic quarters, cover 4. And our defense and NDSU run that. So we practice against that extensively. So I think we'll be solid. No team is going to take us lightly. I've been reading, like I read articles that talk about some fans are mad that they even scheduled us. Other fans are talking about how great of a run offense we have, but how great of a run defense that Iowa has. So I think it's going to be shootout. It's going to be a run clinic. And I think that's something that we're not going to be able to get away from is running the football. With me and Zach Hines, we pretty much have, and Mike Morgan, we have 7 old linemen and really solid H-back with that. And we have so many different weapons with the Yankees. And then Zach, Mike, we have 2 great running backs back there. I mean, Isaiah Davis was
superb.
If you guys remember ever watching Mikey Daniel run the football, it's like that, but 1.5 times the speed. And then he's just incredible. He sees the whole field. I wouldn't want to block for anyone else. And then we got another guy who's more of a Pierre body. His name is Amar Johnson, who can just cut, dice, and spin around dudes. I'm excited. I'm really excited. I think no one should undermine us for this game. We are for sure a contender. I wouldn't even be surprised if, like, the betting over and unders are, I mean, within like under 5 points. So I don't know. I'm excited for this game. And this would be a big game for us as Jackrabbits and a lot of them for individuals. I got to go out there and handle some outside linebackers that they have in their secondary that, they probably, 2 of them could at least be drafted within the first 3 rounds of next year's draft. So we all just got to put some stuff on film. That's what we got to do. That's what it comes down to.
Speaking of film, you talked a little bit earlier about how tight ends have to be one of the smartest, if not the smartest, position players on the field, because you do have to learn the blocking sets and you have to play like a receiver. What do you look for in the film room to help you get better on a week-by-week basis?
Well, week by week, you got to see what defensive front they're running, and then what each team can do out of a defensive front. So, I mean, say they're running like a bear front where they got a nose, and then essentially it's a 3-down line, and then you got a linebacker or 2 cheating down from either side. So what they can do out of that, they make it difficult for us to run like mid zone because they can crash the edge. Or what we can do out of that is like run power, where we have a tight end down blocking and the other tight end kicking out, because we run a lot of 12 personnel power. So like it just matters what the defensive front looks like, what the coverages look like. But I usually just leave all that stuff up to the coaches. We have to watch a lot of film. We usually do revisions from the last game. We go over plays we did well, plays we did bad, plays that we need to improve on because we're going to run the same ones next week. And then we break everything down into like small sessions during Indy. Make sure that our first step off line of scrimmage is great. Then when we get that one, we got to worry about the second step off the line of scrimmage and our run punch, trying to hit the guy so physically in the chest that his head jars and snaps back and forth. So it's being a tight end. It's really about physicality, because if you can outwork a guy across from you, that has to, like, everything about defense really adheres to a run fit. Unless we're like in a 2-minute drive or something. So if you can push a defensive lineman out of his run fit, then you're creating more gaps, and the defense has to do more than what they can control. And it really just becomes difficult on them.
So speaking to your play style, you have some of your traits. You have the NFL size. You've got that crazy athleticism that everyone desires. And then when I watch you play, I see so much fluidity, so much smooth footwork and everything. But for those who don't know much about you, how would you describe your game? And then what's one trait that you really want to work on and perfect?
See, my game's pretty much just a blend of controlled violence. Pass game, I obviously try to be smooth with my routes. I went down to Nashville this year, and where they host Tight End U, and I got that work in for 2 weeks down there, and I learned a lot. And then I also have this clinic that I drive an hour to, and just south of Brookings and Sioux Falls, and I get some work in with Bowers Elite. Shout out Bowers Elite, by the way. Great training for anyone's kids that are high school age or around that. But you just got to never stop working, especially if it's something that you love. But yeah, one thing like I'm trying to improve on this year is my run block. I'm a strong individual. I hold some weight room records here at SDSU, but you can never really like do enough. So if I step off line of scrimmage and down block a guy, but I can't go out and run a smooth route, it doesn't really matter. So my biggest thing is this year is my footwork, second level releases, and then my hands and feet to contact on line of scrimmage.
Yeah, Liam brought up the NFL, and I just kind of want to continue. And you brought up a lot of great points, which probably kind of answers this question. But why should an NFL franchise prioritize you over a tight end? You talked about your work ethic earlier, how you just got to keep your head down. Sell Tucker Kraft to talent evaluators.
See, I'm not really I got a great mom and girlfriend that like to humble me a lot, and just usually try to take care of that stuff for me. So it's hard for me to put it into words, but like I'm more of an actions guy. I'm not really a sayer. So, I mean, I'll talk a little trash here and there, but like I really just like to go out and prove it. And that's kind of just my thing. Is the physicality part of football. That's why I love it so much. But if I were to sell myself, I'd just say, like, I got the tools for sure. I mean, people point that out, but I don't think I've hit my ceiling. Is my thing. I think I can only go up from the point I'm at right now, and I really love to invest in myself and take care of myself, nutrition, recovery, sleep, and everything between. I'm very diligent.
Yeah, I think straight up too. If any like talent evaluators or anything end up watching this, they're gonna love like this interview. You've been so descriptive on every answer. You've gone into such great depth and everything. And I think you're a great interview. You're obviously gonna crush it in the pre-draft process with interviews. So I think you win there as well. I do want to talk about how the NIL era is changing college football, right? And we know very well that there were teams pursuing you with six-figure deals. What was that process like? That's gotta be crazy to endure. And what ultimately led you to staying home in Brookings and playing for the blue and yellow?
Well, my family. I'm a big family guy. And I've met the people here that'll, I've got their back and they have mine. We literally stick our necks out for these guys that we step on the field with. So I couldn't leave them. And, I saw all those offers that I was getting, and I really just had to take a step back and not think about the money. It was hard to do, obviously. You're getting like some of the best programs in college football are offering you life-changing money, the money that you don't see as a 21-year-old. So I sat down with my coaches and I talked to them about it. I was straight up with them. I told them, hey, like, I'm really thinking about into the transfer portal. I'm really confused about this whole thing. I don't know what to do. They're offering me a lot of money, and they, my coaches, they didn't make any empty promises to me. They don't going to tell me that, okay, if you don't do that next year, we're going to throw you the ball 100 times. They just told me straight up, like, hey, like you're a guy on offense and we need you to win games, and we like winning games. And if you go to a program and you don't pick it up right away, that program's a business. Like, FCS ball is family. And I can't say that enough. So that was tough to do. It's a tough decision to make, completely uprooting my life and going someplace I'd never even been. So I'm glad I chose to stay at South Dakota State, because it's only going to help this program out too. This program deserves the world. We have great coaches and great people on staff. And I have amazing teammates.
Yeah, what you said was 100% true. FCS football, it's family. I mean, FBS, we can talk about how that's just turning into a business over the last few years, but that's one of the things I've always loved about FCS ball. It's football right there. And one of the biggest things with the FCS that I love is how they have just some of the best rivalries. One being South Dakota State, North Dakota State. What does that entire rivalry not just mean for the programs, but like the cities and states that those teams represent?
I mean, yeah, Fargo's like 3-4 times the size of Brookings. So they have all the pull in the nation. I wouldn't even be surprised if they moved up within the next decade. But I mean, the rivalry, it's a complete culture thing. You'll have guys that haven't played in the program for like 10 years hitting you up on the week of the game, like telling you like, hey, remember your culture. Like, this is your heritage. You have to go out and give this game your all. We try to say like every single week, like, okay, 1-0, like nameless faceless opponent. But when we play those guys, it's different. They're not nameless. They're not faceless. We hate them. F the Bison. That's the culture at South Dakota State. Even if we're playing Iowa, our strength staff will write on the whiteboard, like, F the Bison. That's
sick.
we take it one game at a time, but it's the guys up north are no good, man. But I respect them. You know, I envy their success, and we're trying to create our own. And you know, we've gotten close, but yeah, like I said, I hold nothing back when I play those guys.
How about off the field? Whether it be, this upcoming year or after you make it to the NFL, how do you plan on giving back to the community and helping out those in need?
Yeah, so I've been thinking about this a lot. I come from an area in South Dakota that's um pretty impoverished. Not everyone lives in poverty, but there are areas where I grew up that people don't have access to food over the weekend. That's like a lot of reasons why we didn't have a 3-day weekend when I was in high school. So I think about that a lot of time with like the My Cleats, My Cause, is that, I would want to set up like food pantries or like, if not food pantries, then areas where, families could go get fresh produce, like greenhouses. And it's really just, it's not a funding issue. It's a management issue in areas like that. It's like sometimes things just don't go to the right places. You know what I mean? And when you see those kids come in off the bus and they might have to leave school because they didn't get enough sleep last night because their parents were fighting, or maybe like they had to go stay at grandma's last night and grandma car broke down and they couldn't come to school. It's like, it's a lot of stuff like that. And you really feel for these kids. And I'm an early childhood education major. I want to be superintendent principal just so I can just help kids like that. I'm lucky enough, very fortunate that I had a great household growing up in, and I never had to beg for a single thing. So that's the thing I want to do is just help.
Love that answer. And we'll go with what we call pick six here. We'll go with 6 more rapid fire questions that aren't also football based. We'll start. What's your favorite food? And then what's your least favorite food?
Favorite food? I like a fatty ribeye. Least favorite food? Probably, I don't really like cantaloupe at all.
All right. You have a favorite TV show?
Probably Seinfeld.
What's your most prized possession?
I have a 1968 step-side Ford.
Any special reasons you wear the number 85?
First number I was given.
What about a hidden talent that maybe nobody really knows about?
I can juggle and I can walk on my hands.
Oh.
Not at the same time, but
I was about to say
crazy.
that'd be pretty impressive. Final one. If you could catch a game-winning touchdown from any quarterback in football history, who is throwing you that dime for the win?
It's probably just got to be Tom Brady, just because I watched him throw so many dimes to Gronk.
Yeah. Final, we'll end it off with this question right here. Obviously, you have goals for the season, both personal and team. What are they? And we're going to hopefully see you succeed with these.
Well, team goal, we want to win national championship, but we got to take it 1 week at a time. It's really that simple, is 1 rep at a time, 1 week at a time. And we just got to keep winning, because the more you win, the better you set yourself up in the playoffs and the way you're seated. So, and we got a last week bye. So that helps out even more. So if we can get a top 8 seed and then get another bye, we get 2 weeks of rest and recovery before we head into the playoffs. So that's great. And then personal goal, obviously this year I want it all. I want to put out for my team. I want my guys to know that they can trust me. I want my coaches to know that in tough situations they can trust me with the football, go up and make a play. Most importantly, though, I want to succeed for my brothers, and then for my actual family. I want this for them. I've really never ever thought about football and never thought about the way it has helped me and my family. So I want that. I want my family to reap the benefits from my success as well. So this year I want to go crazy, and I want to be the first tight end taken off the board come April. So,
well, if you play like you have been playing over the last year, and however you do this year, definitely a good chance at that. Want to thank Tucker Kraft of South Dakota State for joining us on Transfer Portal. My name's Andrew. Liam, thank you for joining us as well. You did some things. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe the video. Do all that stuff everybody else tells you to do. And once again, thank you to Tucker. This was amazing. Follow us on Twitter, TPortalCFB. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.